I didn't realize that mental health was a thing up until just a few years ago. But when I look back, especially at times in high school when I was 14, 15, 16 years old, I was definitely experiencing the symptoms then without realizing it. I was having quite negative thoughts. I was quite anxious, always like worrying about, if the teachers would call my parents and tell them that I was misbehaving. I struggled a lot being able to concentrate in school. So imagine you're in the classroom and the teacher, is at the front of the room and she's trying to teach you something. She's writing down on the board. She's talking to the class. And I would want to concentrate. I would want to get high grades in school. And my mind would just be thinking about other things that were totally irrelevant to my studies. I was very consumed in video games. And this is a psychological term called escapism, which is kind of like escaping reality and instead going into this virtual reality where we can be and do whatever we want. Because in real life, I was a sad, anxious, lonely, abused little kid with not a lot of confidence, not a lot of friends, no attraction from girls. But in the virtual world, in the video games that I would play, I was a warrior, I was a chef, I was a knight, I was a magician. I got to try all of these different lives. And so it was so nice to be able to play video games and really just obsess over them in my mind. I had other symptoms as well. I was binge eating. So imagine a 14-year-old and I just had this uncontrollable urge to just eat as much junk food as possible. Why was this happening? Why did I have poor mental health at this age? I was traumatized and I was getting more and more trauma every single day. I was being abused at home, abused by my family. I was being abused in school. Honestly, school was traumatizing by itself when a teacher is unhappy with you and you can't concentrate, or maybe, I was talking in class and the teacher, like a grown adult, would get close to my face and scream and threaten me. Some of the teachers knew what was happening at home. I was getting abused. I was getting physically, emotionally hurt by my parents, by my brother. And some teachers knew what was happening and they would threaten me. They'd look me in the eyes with a certain look on her face and just say something like, "I'll call your father and we'll see what he'll do to you. We'll see what he has to say about that." When you're young, but honestly at any age, if you feel compulsively unsafe and you kind of have to stay in that situation, you can't, fortunately be able to leave your home or get out of a dangerous situation. When you're stuck there, you're stuck with your family, you're stuck in school, your body and your nervous system and your mind deteriorate very quickly. And suddenly you're put into this everlasting fight or flight feeling. And you can probably relate to this. If you can relate to the experiences that I've just spoke about, and you've experienced things like trauma and parental abuse, and you can probably relate to this feeling of your fight or flight system just always being activated. So there's two systems inside of our body. One is the fight or flight, and the other one is rest and digest. So the rest and digest is what should happen